This is Dr. Maurine Kwende, your podcast host, and you are listening to the Empowerment Minutes podcast. If you're here for the first time, this podcast is a podcast to empower you with knowledge on learning and development, training, leadership, coaching, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. I am a learning leader, researcher, speaker, coach, consultant, and author. And I would like to say thank you so much for being a fan of this podcast. I have the pleasure and honor to empower emerging leaders, instructional designers, trainers, first-time managers, supervisors, L&D professionals to become better leaders through my academy called the Dream Big and Bold Academy. I would be happy to help you too. So thank you once again for tuning in, and thank you for sharing this podcast. Every time I see your comments, I see your private messages, how this has been inspiring to you. So thank you so much. Oftentimes people confuse coaching with consulting, but they are different. And that's the focus of today's episode. So let's get started with coaching. So let's get started with coaching. Coaching is actually a process of helping people gain clarity towards their goals, to get them unstuck and move forward. It's a process to help others to really accomplish their goals, what your vision looks like, right? So this process is really focused on the present situation, short-term goals, the vision, and the future. So it's not looking at the past. Someone has some issues in their past, maybe trauma, all those kind of things. That's definitely not coaching, that's counseling. But today we're looking at coaching and consulting. So with coaching, the coach is actually an expert and someone who's trained in that field, and their focus is on the present. And then they have the role of a coach and a coachee. So it could be just a coach and one person called a coachee, or it could be the coach and multiple people coaching a group, right? A group of people who have similar goals. Maybe in an organization, right? People who are having similar goals, a coach can coach that group. So with coaching, the focus on performance goals, and the critical tool that is used in coaching are questions. So the coach uses questions to spark curiosity, awareness, and clarity for the coachee, so they can be able to take action and reach your goals, right? So you can have goals all you want, you got to be able to take action. The coach helps them really take action, helps them to stay committed, and helps them to be accountable on what they commit to do. As a leader, you may need to coach your team to achieve their goals. Coaching will help them move forward. So that's how you would coach them, by using coaching strategies that we're going to talk about next week. But this week is really focusing on the differentiating between coaching and consulting. So now we've talked about coaching, but how about consulting? Right, consulting is quite similar to coaching, but there are differences. So with consulting and coaching, both are experts who bring knowledge and expertise in their various areas. Both can help you reach your goals, but there really are major differences. So a coach can enable you, an individual or group, to take action to reach their goals or solve what problem they're experiencing, while a consultant is the expert who would be the one to solve the problems. Right, the consultant would work with you, take down notes, make sure that they capture what your thoughts are, come up with what a possible solution is. But the coach actually is the one who is just facilitating the discussion with the person they're coaching, the client. It's the client who is the one responsible for writing down what their goals, what they want to achieve, what the agenda is, where they want to go. The coach simply guides that conversation using great questions. So a consultant would work with a team or an individual for a limited period of time, right? And then on a specific project, while a coach would generally work with an individual or group towards a short-term goal, not long-term. A consultant would look for data, collect data, analyze data, and then decide what needs to be done, while the coach would facilitate and nurture the growth of the individual. So you can see Those are really big differences, right? The consultant is in charge of creating, figuring out the problem and figuring out how the problem is going to be solved. The coach, on the other hand, helps the client to gain clarity, to be the one to figure out what the problem is and take action. And the coach would now be the one to help them, guide them towards doing that. It's just being a guide, right? But the onus is on the client. But the consultant is the one who's actually being responsible for figuring out what the problem is for that client. Okay. So if you are wondering what the difference is, I hope this has given you some sort of clarity or idea of what really a coach does and what a consultant does. And as a final thought, you can be a coach and you can still be a consultant. You can do both. But knowing the difference as a leader is important so you can know how you can be a good resource for your team. If you're working with a client, you can be able to determine, oh wow, they're asking for coaching, but really what they need is consulting, and vice versa. So you can know how to guide them. So that's it for this week's podcast. It's a short and sweet episode just to highlight what the differences are. Next week is the International Coaching Week, so I will be talking some more about coaching and how you can leverage coaching to do better in your jobs. So to our listeners out there, thank you for tuning into this wonderful episode. I hope you learned a thing or two about coaching and consulting, and I hope to see you at my upcoming Dream Big and Body Academy workshop this month that's focused on confidence and leadership. Please share with your network and continue to be safe, be well, and I'll see you same time next week.